Right, the boys say we're ready to rock and roll. Good morning, good morning, all. Let's start chair, okay? First of all, so a quick mazel tov to Yosef Ben Zev. Last time he had a baby was at home, so I hope it wasn't the same thing this time. I tried to convince him not to do it at home. He did it on purpose last time, and he promised he's not going to do it again. But I don't know. It seemed like he might have been at home. Real quickly, yesterday. During the sponsors, we had 3 sponsors, and right in the middle of the sponsors, the YouTube went out. So these are for Refuah Shleimas, so I'm going to repeat them real quickly. Dedicated to the Refuah Shleima of all Klal Yisrael impacted by this horrible virus sweeping the world, that we should see an end to this pandemic, and may we all see the arrival of Mashiach now at this time. Asher and Penina Lenga, Yishkoyach Asher and Penina Lenga. We had this yesterday for the entire shir behind me, so that did the job, but for me saying it, I'm doing it now. And also, we had one from Donnie Fine, which we said, but it wasn't said on YouTube, so I'll say it again. Eli, as you know, my father Modin has been enjoying the shir for the last week or so. My parents have a close friend back in Staten Island, Dr. Joseph Teitelbaum. Unfortunately, he's suffering from corona and needs our tefillos. My father asked me to request that you dedicate tomorrow's shir for Refuah Shleima. Yosef David Ben Ita Miriam. You should have a Refuah Shleima. And on to today's sponsors. Again, we have 3 sponsors today. This one, also very interesting. I said this the wrong day because I'm by myself and I'm not. Baruch Hashem, I made a mistake and I said we had the sponsors, I think, on Sunday, but it was the wrong day. Baruch Hashem, I made a mistake because I realized when I got, sometimes it comes in and because it's Hebrew and English together, it goes backwards and I wrote the name wrong. So here we have it right. My grandfather and other family members I never knew. Rafala Victor Leibish ben Chaim Tiefenbach. Bracha bas Rafala Victor Leibish. Zechron Levracha Reuven ben Shlomo Zechron Levracha. And remember, Tinoch ben Reuven, he was a day old, this baby, when the Nazis took him. Deminkevich, that's the name. Deminkevich. Hashem Yinkim Damam. Leilu Nishmas. Etel Malko Bas Avram Moshe Zechron Levracha. And the Yortzeit of David Yoel ben Natan Zechron Levracha. This name I'm familiar with. I had to memorize it yesterday because I said Kaddish. There's a little story here that goes with it. So I'm going to hang this up here. It goes like this. We have an email from Steven Sokolov. Background. I got to say this quickly because it's a long one. I want to first thank Reb Eli for saying Kaddish for my father today. A little background. I'm currently living with my family in South Bend. He's a nursing home administrator, made Aliyah, but it went back to South Bend. We also have David Brandis from South Bend. Baruch Hashem, he made, I think, a complete recovery from corona. We davened for him and everything. We were a little worried about him. At some point, leading up to the Sima Shas, I saw ads for the 8-minute daf. I started out with the 8-minute during Nida and joined the full shir using YouTube. There was something about the shir that just really pulled me in. I got through half a shas doing the daf on my own 2 cycles back. It's hard for me to wrap my head around all. I was just nervous. I forgot my water again. But Baruch Hashem, all the back and forth. He struggles with the back and forth of the Gemara. I'm much for a bottom line halacha l'maisa guy. Anyway, while here in South Bend, I managed to complete Isser v'Heter learning Chavrusa at 5 a.m. daily with the Rav from Bet Shemesh. Probably the guy goes to our shir. Who else? Well, the Rabbanim come to our shir. We're now in Shabbos. However, with my second son almost bar mitzvah age, I figured it's time to start covering some ground in Gemara. I'm learning a ton in this Masechta, and it lines up well with the smicha stuff in Shabbos. The Ma'aser Rabbi said we're learning a lot of stuff that's important for the day-to-day. Just yesterday, I was checking in on somebody that claims he's here every day. I'm going to check if he's here. I didn't notice him, so I said, where the heck are you? So he started proving to me that he's online. He started talking to me about Atmana. And it turns out that for, I don't know how long, he bought this beautiful, it looks like a challah cover, and he puts it over all his food on Shabbos. And we were discussing that it's Hatmana, it might be Issa D'Oraisa. It's like, well, they sell it, and he sends me a picture of it, and it says, L'kavet Shabbos and Yantav. It's very confusing. You're not allowed to put a blanket over your stuff. So I told him perhaps they just meant that it should be for the top. Al Kopanim, we're learning halacha l'maisa. And he's like, okay, I'm not going to use it anymore. But there's a lot of stuff that in Negea day to day, like the Mishavur says, if you don't learn Hilchas Shabbos, you're bound to be over Chil Shabbos every single Shabbos. That's one of his famous things in the Akdama to Mishnah Berurah on Hilchos Shabbos. And he doesn't have Akdamas for every Chelik, but for Chelik Gimel, he had a beautiful Akdama. Anyway, back to this email. So he likes smicha stuff, blah, blah, blah. So thank you very, very, very much, 2 times very, to you, Reb Eli, and your Chabura. It's all about the Chabura. If you notice all the emails, they keep on mentioning Chabura, Chabura, Chabura. There's a sense of camaraderie and Chabura. It makes me feel like I am still part of the Israel group. My heart is there. Now there's Yartzeit. Very sad story here. His parents divorced when he was 7 years old. Never got to know his father, only spoke to him once or twice a year. And when his father was nifter, he tried to get them not to cremate his father. It was a whole struggle. And at the end, they agreed to it, but they didn't let him come to the funeral. And he wasn't going to do anything. The bottom line is, he says like this. He was not planning on doing anything because he couldn't get the shul. He said Kaddish for a year. And he decided late last night to just put it in the chat room and ask if somebody could say Kaddish for him. Within minutes, 4 people offered to say Kaddish. Think about that, he says. I'm here in South Bend, and people who I only know from this year jumped to do that. In the end, it was Eli who said the Kaddish, and I'm very grateful. I feel that it was a miracle to not have my father cremated, and another miracle to even have the Kaddish said given today's circumstances. So sorry for the long email, but I thought it was important that I point out what I saw happen and how amazing I think the work and learning that is going on is. Thank you. Best regards, Stephen Sokolow from South Bend, Indiana. David Yoel ben Natan should have an aliyah. Okay, so I think that's that. Maybe one, we're pushing it again. But it's a very short daf. Fine, one quick one here. Reb Eli, I haven't learned the daf in 30 years. I do learn Chumash, Tanakh, and Mefarshim a couple hours a day. Takes me approximately 12 minutes to get to shul in the morning, so I listen to Tanakh going, and when you come out with the 8-minute daf, I decide to listen on my trip back from shul. It's like an 8-minute, well-barbecued burger with all the trimmings. Now that Corona is upon us, no shul trips, so I decided to go for the full 45 well-done steak. Great presentation. Thank you for changing my spiritual diet. Kol hakavod, and thank you again. Stay well and stay healthy. Jack from Catskill Mountains, upstate New York. All right, Seder. This and this will go a different time. Let's see what we have here. We're holding on Daf Moyach, Daf Mem Ches. Says the Gemara. Yeah. Unfortunately, I also noticed the YouTubers missed out on our Yoidul Hashem Chazli song. Well, it was only a recording, so we'll have to play that recording a different time. Oh, we got 110 people, so we're ready to learn Torah. A lot of them I see, not a lot, but like about 5 minutes ago, there's only 90. So a lot of them come after the email. Very smart. Rabba Reb Zero, Iklu Lebereish Galuso. Rabba Reb Zero. Now, before we start, I have 2 riddles for the Olam. Think about this. We learned that lahalacha, you're allowed to do shehiyah. You're allowed to leave something in the oven before Shabbos if it's cooked kimachal ben drusai. That's how we pass. So here's the question. It's a little bit of a trick question maybe. What food are you allowed to put in the oven right before Shabbos when it's not cooked, baked at all? 0. Anybody? What food are you allowed to put into the oven a minute before Shabbos when it's not cooked or baked at all? Cholent, you're not allowed to put it in the... Huh?
Cholent.
Cholent? Why? You might be right actually, because...
You don't want to eat it till the next day.
Right, because it has fresh meat in it. Right, so that's one thing. But there's something else that Taisus points out. A baked apple. Taisus talks about baked apples. You know, a lot of people, they take the top off, they throw cinnamon in there, sugar, and a baked apple. Why? Because the apple, you can eat it as is right now. So it's as if it's kimach ben drusai right now, and now you're just finishing it off in the oven. However, says Taisus, you have to be careful with the baked apple there's another problem with the baked apple. Because now baked apple, you're not allowed to do chazara. You're not allowed to put it back. You're not allowed to cover it with more blankets. Why? Because that's increasing the baking. And you want it baked, it's not fully baked, that will be a problem. Okay, now I have another question. Here's a riddle to think about for the next 10 minutes. If I have a brand new, today these women, they buy on, what is it called? Not Amazon, that shoe place. When we lived in America. What?
Zappos?
Zappos. Zappos. You get like, in America, these women, they could buy 20, 30 pairs in a shot, and they tell their husband, I'm going to give them all back, don't worry about it. And then they get stuck with 25 of them. The kids are, so let's say you get a brand new pair of shoes. Is there any problem that you could think of on Shabbos to wear a brand new pair of shoe? Brand new. So think about this question. Is there any problem wearing a brand new pair of shoes? There might be an Isser Da'iraisa to wear a brand new pair of shoes in a certain circumstance. All right, says the Gemara. Rabbi Rav Zer Iklo Lebei Reish Galusa. So they come to the house of the Reish Galus. Probably a mansion. The Reish Galus is a wealthy individual. They noticed, I have a picture of it. Something like this. I don't know what happened to me. I know what happened. I disappeared from, okay. Now I can see what it looks like in the screen if you guys see it or not. But anyways, here's the kumkum, here's the urn, very hot. And he went ahead and he put a jug of water, a cup of water on top, cold water. Nazi Rabbi yelled at him, tells the servant, what are you doing? Reb Zera is with him. We're going to learn that you're allowed to take one of these guys and put it on top of the other one. Both hot. What's the difference? You're worried about atmana, about burying, about insulating. Look, these guys are pretty. Oh, my good friend, I'm not going to mention his name. NS, he's over there. Shkoyach for being on today. I'm telling you, these guys that I'm used to from the last 2+ years next to me, and I see them, I don't know where Mendy is. Where's Mendy? He always, is he late? He tells me he's on. But I need guys like that to get the familiar faces. Now you guys are my familiar faces. Yaakov, who used to be in the top corner, is not there anymore. Hatmana, does this look like a hatmana to you? Are you burying anything? So the Gemara says there's no problem at hatmana if you put the gray on top of a gray, 2 grays, two kumkums, 2 urns. Says Reb Zer, so why are you making a big fuss? Why are you yelling at the servant for putting this cold water on top of this? How does this look like atmana to you? Says Rabbi, by the urn on top of an urn, all you're trying to do is prevent heat loss. They're both hot. You don't want one of them to completely become cold, so you put it on top of the other. Over here, you're creating new heat into the cold water that looks like hatmana, that is asur. Hadar chazia. So they keep on, they're there by the Rosh Goes. All of a sudden they see this troublemaker servant guy. The paras, this toider apume de kuba. He took, those turbans, like they see the Ben Ish Chai. Where's my Sruli David here? I'm trying to say hello to him for the last few days. The Ben Ish Chai's grandson. So, I got to stop for a second. Rebbe Lezer Karmel Shalom Aleichem, I missed you. He used to be a big part of our shir. He promised he's going to come back, and here he is. He's back. Remember? Nachman, he used to sit right across from you. I don't know if you remember. The guy with the long beard. Lezer Karmel. Very nice. Beautiful. Shalom Aleichem. Yesterday, Avi said, Lezer Karmel's on. I had no idea what he was talking about. I thought he was talking about some guy from California. All right, so back to the story here. He notices the servant taking a turban and placing, I have a picture, placing it over a pot. Now, what's the problem over here? So far, according to the Rishonim, no problem. He covered it with a shmata, with a turban, not a shmata, a nice beged called a turban. But the problem is, look, you see, he put a cup. He put some sort of ladle, some sort of device that he could take out some of the liquid from this pot. So the problem is, Nazi Rabbi yelled at him again. What are you doing? Stop it. Don't put a cup on there. What are you? Am I? What's going on? Why are you getting on this guy's case 2 times in a row? Amai, Omarle, Hash the Chazis. Rabbi says, you know what? I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to figure this out yourself. Let's stand on the side and let's watch what's going to transpire over here. They see the slave going, grabbing the turban, and squeezing it out. Schita. Schita is a tolda of libun. Here's the problem. That's why I yelled at him. Some Sefer brings up right away. My Chavrusa was asking you this yesterday. I found some Sefer asked this. So why didn't he yell at him when he did schita? So some Sefer says you have to say that he didn't really squeeze it. He was about to. Here, you see, he's about to squeeze it. You're not allowed to do that. Meaning that the Rishonim learn that the problem is putting this heavy thing on the turban. The turban is probably going to dip from the weight into the liquid, become moist. You're going to care about your turban, you're going to go ahead and squeeze it out. Why is this different than what every other person does at home? In those days, they didn't have those nice covers. So what do you cover your pot with? What do you cover your liquids with? You take some kind of shmata and throw it on there. Nobody cares about a shmata that's designed to put on a pot. But we're talking about a head turban. This is your chashav thing that you go out with. So I knew right away, what is he going to do? And look what happened. He actually tried to protect his head turban and he squeezed it out. He did schita. I was getting all excited. I thought this is probably the sugya for Daddy Kormluth, who deals with feathers, moichin. But this is anything. This is soft material. This is the stuffing that we're going to see. You put in a pillow, whatever, some soft material. Now, the pshat over here is that this soft material is designed to make felt out of it. Felt, like you make these black hats, whatever, felt. So since he sets it aside and he says, I want to make felt out of this material, so that's called muktzah machmas chisaron kis. I already set it aside for something. I'm not letting other people use it, touch it. It's on the side for my business, for felt. Now, he's up a creek, this guy. He doesn't have what to bury his pot. It's almost Shabbos. He looks around real quickly and he says, my felt. But he needs it for his business. But the chont is more important. So he takes it and muchin shetamam behen ma'u l'talton b'Shabbos. A minute ago, it was muktzah machmas chesaron kis. It's very important to him. Now I took it and I did a tmana in it. I buried my pot in it. Just because this guy couldn't find his straw and he used something expensive and something that he's gonna, so that means he's done with it. He's not gonna make a hat tomorrow. He's not gonna make a tefillin bag, whatever you make out of felt. He still wants it. So right after Shabbos, as long as he doesn't get chunked all over the felt, he'll remove his pot and he'll take his felt, he'll take his muchin and he'll make felt out of it. So it's still muktzah machmas chesaron kis. Yes, right now he might be using it for atmana, but he doesn't want people touching it and it remains muktzah. Perhaps this is a raya. The Gemara says it's not a raya. What's the raya? It says, so these are 3 steps of wool. Gizei tzemer is right when you shear the wool right off the animal. Ubetzipik tzemer is when the next step is you comb out the wool. Okay, so it's a little bit better. It has a little bit more value. This is already step 3. He already dyed it purple. It's already, but they're all wool. I could do atmana with all this. And this is what we're talking about. Soft, wool, cotton, whatever, moichin. Ve'ein metaltalin oisan. You could do atmana, but you can't do tiltal. You're not allowed to move it on Shabbos. So what do you see from here? The moichin, since I set it aside, so it remains kli shemalachta le'isr. and it's talking about hatmana. I put my paret chont in it, yet the isser of chisar and kiss remains on it. Says Gemara, not a great raya. It's not a perfect raya. Perhaps you're talking about before you did atmana. You could do atmana with it. If you want to, you could use it as a material, you could do atmana. It's not moisef hevel, whatever. It's a good material. But don't touch it. You're not allowed to move it. If it's in a special box that you set aside for your felt, you're not allowed to move it on Shabbos. I could be doichek and say it's not talking about after you did atmana. It's talking about before you did atmana. But maybe after you did atmana, you mevatel it already. I don't care about it. I'm not going to make felt out of something I just put a hot pot of chont in. Maybe that's the pshat. We don't know. So what's the big chiddush that it's muktzah? Of course it's muktzah. It's muktzah machmas chisar and kiss, like any other muktzah. Any pile of muchin that's set aside for me to do felt is muktzah machmas chisar and kiss. Why is it telling me? Says the Gemara, the same chazi the mizga alayu. You know what? Yes, it's set aside for felt, but it also could be a chair. I could sit on it, I could lean on it, and therefore maybe it's not muktzah. So I'm telling you a side halach. You should know that muchin happens to be muktzah machmas chisar and kiss if you set it aside, even though you might think that it's like a bean bag. It's nice and soft. You could sit in it. No, it's not. It's still muktzah. Says the Gemara, Rav Chizda shara lahadurei udra. Sometimes, out of your pillow, the feathers pop out. You have like a stuffed animal. Some of the stuffing falls out. Rav Chizda allowed to put that stuffing back in. Lebei sadio b'shabsa. Sadio is a pillow. It's not considered a makeh b'patish. The final blow of a hammer, the final... ask the Gemara, why not? Why is that not makeh b'patish? This pillow needs X amount of stuffing. It's missing 25% of it. You just stuffed it in there, and now it's a perfect pillow. Why is that not makeh b'patish? It says, Matirim beis hatzaver b'Shabbos. You have that neck on every garment, like a t-shirt, you have that little hole that you put your head through. So in those days, the launderer would take it and sew it up a little bit so you could do laundry. So you could undo it. You're not allowed to take a scissor, right? They didn't have a special machine like today, or maybe that's how they do it today. I don't know. Probably. You'd make a whole garment, and then at the end you take a scissor and just cut out a little bit of a hole for your head to fit through. That you're not allowed to do on Shabbos. What is that called? Makeh b'patish. You're finishing off the garment. And this is what is important for us. You're not allowed to stuff a pillow on Yontif. Shabbos is usually more chamur than Yontif. So certainly you're not allowed to stuff it on Shabbos. So why in the world does Rav Chizda say that I could stuff a pillow on Shabbos? Like Kasha. A brand new pillow, you're not allowed to finish off the Gemar Balacha. I'm finishing it off. This is my makeh b'patish. But once I slept on the pillow, once it's in my house, and my kid jumped on it, and now I have a little hole and half the stuff comes out. So I already had a makeh b'patish. I already had a kli that was finished. Now I'm just putting it back to where it was before. That's not a makeh b'patish. And have a riot to this. It says mefurish, you should not put the soft material into the pillow. Not true, but if it came out, machzir noisim b'Shabbos. This is mefurish, like Rav Chizda, that if on Shabbos it came out, you're allowed to put it back on Shabbos. And certainly you're allowed to put it back on Yom Tov. Now, going back to my question about a shoelace, what does that have to do with the sugya? It has a lot to do. If I never put my shoelace into the holes, it might be a issa d'oraisa to put it in on Shabbos. I'm being makeh b'patish. I don't have a shoe that I could wear right now. My shoe is going to slip off my foot without my shoelaces. And my shoelace is my final makeh b'patish. You hear what's going on here? Anybody ever think about that? It's just a shoelace. It comes in and out easily. Similar Shaila. If I give my kid a football and it's not completely blown up, a balloon, a ball, if I were to blow it up on Shabbos, that might be Issa D'Oraisa, because I'm introducing to it new ear that it didn't have before Shabbos. Listen to this. If the ear comes out of my ball, so then you have Machlokes Achronim. Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach holds, yes, I'm taking new ear and putting it in, but ear is ear, it's all the same. And since it already had ear, it's not a problem. So, and Rabbi Yashiv said that it's uvda d'chol, it's not proper to do so. You don't pump up a ball on Shabbos. But I'm saying it's something to think about. I remember seeing somewhere, and I couldn't find it. I remember seeing that shoelaces is mamish. I don't know if it's Issa D'Oraisa, but a Isser. I don't know if it was Shmir Shabbos Kilchasa. Forgot where I saw it. Long time ago. If somebody finds it, please send it to me. But anyway, something at least to think about. Taisus is talking about if you have a drawstring, in a sweatshirt, you have those two strings. That's mamish Isser to put it through on Shabbos. It's the makeh b'patash. Oh, Sam Winehouse is showing me on his Chicago shirt. He has the strings. He has. He learned. You come with what do you call it? Hands-on displays here to the shir. Baruch Hashem, anticipated it. All right, in Chicago it's probably still snowing. That's why he has a sweatshirt. Over here it's like 95 degrees. Zog the Gemara. Where are you, Sam? You're like in South Bend, Detroit. I don't know where he's at. Okay, not in Chicago. Chicago. You're just wearing a Chicago sweatshirt. The kids are somewhere in America, right? You're Muncie, but with the Chicago. Okay, Muncie, because I was getting worried. I was like, I haven't heard a lot from the Muncie boys. I said we haven't heard from Passaic, so then they started spilling in all the emails from Passaic. Baruch Hashem. All right, Italy. We got a couple guys in Italy watching. We got in Spain, the guy that had the child. Who else? France? Do we have in France? Don't remember. Anyway, England. I think we have a couple guys in England. I'm not sure. The Manchester Chabura leads. Here's Bernard. What?
A couple of Ramat B'Shemesh guys.
Yeah. And we have even Gimel guys. Yeah. All right. Rav Yehuda Merav. Haboiseach Beisat Savar B'Shabbos. You see, Rabbi, I'm just saying this is a little different than brachas. Guy was complaining to me last night that he's like he'll shtickle out of it. He's not understanding all the ideas, all the musagim. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's not stories, and it's not. It doesn't have that geschmack that we had in brachas. But how can you go into Shabbos not knowing that it might be an issue to put shoelaces in your shoe, and it might be an issue to cover. Not might. It's a very big issue to cover your cholent pad before Shabbos with one of those blankets that says on it L'Kavod Shabbos. So they're selling it and they're fooling you, telling you that you're allowed to do it. So if it was just for that guy that's going to stop putting on his blanket, it was worth all the work.
Eli, the blanket cover, I didn't bring it up earlier, but I don't think it's an issue unless it's fully covered all around.
Okay. Well, it's a good point that you're saying, but it's not accurate. Fully covered means 51%. And he has a challah on top of that thing. He told me exactly what he has. He has chicken on the bottom, has a thing on the thing, and then he has a challah on top, and he covered it. The challah is 100% covered. So for this individual, 100% asr. Oh, he's showing. David Feinberg has Shabbos V'Yontif on top. He also has a display. Beautiful.
I'm not sure how accurate that is, but okay.
What, the 51%? I'm pretty sure, but I'll look into it. But regardless, okay, if you don't cover completely, and what if you do cover completely? I mean, this individual wasn't aware that's an issue, b'chlal. They sell it in the store. It says Shabbos V'Yontif. It's meant to cover. And what if there's a pan this tall and it covers the whole thing? So you're going to start telling him he didn't know the halacha to be aware of it and make sure. Yeah.
Rabbi Riviat in the 39 Malachos, the 4 volume, he has on page 627. It needs to be totally enwrapped. It can't just be on top. Food must be completely covered. It's got to still be in the Kli Rishon, and it's got to be, the other things are going to be, it's got to also be direct contact that you have already, but the total cover is, I think, what gets people out of this.
But he himself told me that he total covers it. There is total cover by him.
Totally covered is wrapping it all around. It's just sitting on top.
No, if the wrap goes to all directions, that's totally covered.
No.
No, but no.
Well, you're saying it has to be a wrap from the bottom?
Sides, yes, it has to be hatmana. It has to be wrapped on the sides and the bottom.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so, but okay, we'll look into it. You know what? At least we have something to think about. But there's something, at least we know there's something there. Don't go through your life not knowing there's a concept called atman at all. For every one of us, right, Pastor? We'll look into Allah and we'll find out the thing.
Yeah. No?
I remember learning, not now, I remember learning something about 51%. That's considered a thing by us. But okay.
Also, what's the level? Like you're saying shoelaces is going to be Issa Doraisa, but if you
I don't know. Don't call me on this today, right? But it's definitely yeah.
You have a shirt on Shabbos. You got to button your shirt down. It's nothing until you start buttoning down. Is it makabeh patish every time you button?
No, because that's the way it's designed. That's the thing. But yeah, by the way, they do talk about it and explain why. But buttons are already in. It's like the shoelace already, and you're tying it. You're doing it. But over here, you're going through the like when you go to the store, the guy always has to do the shoelaces for you. That's the final. That's the makabeh patish. Bekitzer. Each thing individually, you have to look at everything. Like, is a diaper makabeh patish? Maybe, when you go like this, you open up that tape and go like that. But, they say it's meant to come out. I don't know. Anyway. Omer, that's tefirah. That's a different halacha. Omer Rav Yehuda Omer Rav. Hapoiseach beisat tzavor b'Shabbos chayav chatos. So, if you cut open the neck on a shirt, you're chayav chatos. It's an iser d'oraisa. Maskiv lo Rav Kahano. Turning the page, Daf Memches Amud Beis. Ma ben zu lebegufas chavis. You have a barrel, and the barrel is covered. And you want to show off to your friends. You know these guys that do that? They take the sword and they chop off the top of the champagne bottle. So this guy does it with his barrel. He has a barrel of wine. He takes a sword and chops off the top. Why is that not a makabeh patish? Now you're opening up the barrel. Amalei Rava. The top of the barrel is not one with the barrel. It's meant to come off. It might be stuck on nicely, but it's not one with the barrel. And therefore, it's not similar to a shirt that you just open. You have to completely cut it. It's all one beged. It was created to begin with as one garment, as one piece of cloth, and you cut out and you make a beged out of it by cutting it. Ramele Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbi Zera. Tanan. Shalal.
Rabbi Pessin just said it has to be 100% covered.
You just called him? You just texted him?
Dr. Lin was just in touch with him.
What is 100%? From the sides? Even the bottom, he says, has to be covered?
Bottom, yeah, of course.
Eli, 100% is 100%.
The bottom is covered.
No, 100% to me would mean 100% what that you see.
It's covered because of the plata. It has to be the sides and the top.
Shalom Aleichem. Shkoyach. See? Noam is right. The bottom is batmana from the plata. You don't have to go underneath it. Stop giving a term to people, Avi. You got to be careful. This is the rices over here.
No, but it's not a problem because...
Before you say it's not a problem, the guy's going to go back to doing what he's doing. It's better to think about it first. All right, we'll come out with some Chlorkite hopefully tomorrow. Maybe I'll give over the halacha tomorrow if I remember. Okay, listen, we have 10 minutes, and that's way too much for Amud Beis. See, anybody else want to say something here? Okay, let's go weiter. Shlal shel koifsim. I love this. It's one of my favorite drawings that I've done in the last 3 days. If you have the launderers in those days, like today, they have a whole sophisticated system. You give it to the dry cleaner, so he has like a little piece of paper that somehow could go through the dry cleaner without getting wet, because it's dry clean, right? But it has your number, and he has I don't know, he has some sort of he puts all the numbers together. He realizes this is Moshe Cohen's garments. But in those days, they had to like sew. He takes the guy's shirt, pants, whatever, and he sews them together. So he knows, okay, this is barrel stuff. This is literally not part of the sugya at all. But I couldn't resist because I was thinking like. The guy with a lot of keys, and I was thinking to myself, the macher, the tutzach guy, the yoili, I had to make one of those. I had a lot of them, but it has nothing to do with the sugya really. Oh, here we go. So this guy, he has a lot of keys. I don't know if you see, he has a lot of keys. and he has a walkie-talkie, and he has a lot of cell phones over there that are not even attached to his body. A lot of cell. Kitzer, what's the shaykhis? No shaykhis, just because I wanted to make a nice picture. Anyway, so a macher guy. What? What?
Of course, he's on Atala.
Oh, here. It says on the thing, see? Yichud Hatzalah. Not the one that Levi Freeman is part of, because those are not machers, but the other, whatever. So we're talking about now connecting kalim, two different things together. How does that work? When does it work? And it's important for Tumah. Let's say you have two kalim. Are these two parts, are they one? You're going to say yes, it's one. Okay. When do you say it's one? When do you say it's two? So if I touch Tumah right over here, does it transfer to here? Does it transfer the whole Kli? Yes or no? Now I have different garments that are sewn together. If I touch Tumah on one, does the whole thing, one key, do all the keys on the keychain become Tameh? I have two pieces of shatnez. I have two pieces of wool, and I combine them together. I stitch it with what do you call it? With flax. So I have shatnez. So that's considered connected. If I touch tumah on one, the other one becomes tamei. Rashi explains, once I start undoing the sewing, obviously my shirt and my pants are not one. But since I connected them with a thread, so they're one. Once I start undoing it, so now I'm showing I don't want them anymore, so I don't have to completely undo it yet, then they're not together anymore. Okay. So we're going to see at the end of the sugya, when you're doing melacha, midoiraisa, it's one kli. When I'm using the scissors, I'm going like this, then it's a kli. When it's in the drawer, then the two parts are not connected midoiraisa. That's what the Gemara says. Later on, we'll see. Viriminu. So alma shaloi b'shas melacha, even though I'm not doing melacha with these clothing, the tutzach is not using his keys. They're all one. All 100 keys are one. I'll ask you a question. Makil shasa yad kardoim. Here's the kardim. I have an axe, and I take a makil. Very important that this makil right over here, it's not a real handle that you buy in Home Depot. What is this? This is a branch off a tree. Never mekabel tumah like that. It's a pshutik kliyeh. It's not mekabel tumah. But I had no breira. I had no way out of this. I needed something quickly so I could use my axe to chop my kids whatever off. So I take this piece of stick that's no shaykhis. I shove it. What am I going to do as soon as I'm done working? I'm going to take the stick, as the Gemara is going to say later, and toss it. I don't need it. It's not really important for now. It's not like I found a great handle for my axe. When I'm axing away, it's a chibur. B'shas melacha in, shalei b'shas melacha loy. So over here, all of a sudden you see a distinction between during doing the avodah, the melacha, and afterwards. One is mekabel tumah if it's during the melacha, yes, and if not, not. That's different. The reason why they're not connected, these two pieces, is because he physically doesn't care about this piece of wood. He's going to throw it into the fire as soon as he's done chopping. When it comes to the clothing for the launderer, he wants that connection. He likes it because he might have to toss it in the laundry again. So he wants that connection. And Memela, it creates one. All those clothing are one. I'm not talking about the keys as much as the clothing. Also, this is a Daf Yomi Shir Magid Shir's dream. In Surah, they said it in the name of Rav Chizda. In Pimpadisa, they said it in the name of Rav Kahana. Chaval doesn't say like a few more lines, like whatever. And some say in the name of Rava. Okay, so vacation is over. 3 lines. This is a saying out there that whatever is connected is one. Who said that? Whatever is connected. So you're talking about this. This is connected to this. There's something else that's connected. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav Meiri. It only goes according to Rav Meir. This nan. Beis apachu, beis atavlin. You know, in your grill on your barbecue, sometimes if you have a fancy one, you have on the side like trays. You could put stuff. You could put your salt, pepper. You could hang your tools. You know, you have different compartments on the side. Same thing with a kira. Oh, I got a picture. I want to show you what the first picture looked like. It's pretty much the same, but I thought my new addition this morning was better. This is the first one, yeah? It's kind of boring. And also you could see some of the words bleed through from the other side of the Gemara, because this is taken from a Mesivta. You see right over here, words? Right. Here's the new rendition. It's the same thing, basically. But you see what's going on here? Got a little mouse, a dead mouse. Question. If this is made out of kli cheres, this is earthenware, is this kli tameh right now? Look at the mouse. It's right over here. It's touching it. It's on it. It died from the heat. It's not tameh. Kli cheres is metame metoichai. David, you're off. You said yes, not. It has to be metame inside. Inside, even if it doesn't touch inside, even if it's in the air. Says the Gemara. Beis hatavlin, beis haner shebekir. So I flew off for a second, but you see how you have these little guys? They had a sophisticated kira. It even had lighting. You take a candle, you put it over here, you can see what you're doing at night. Over here, you're throwing your salt. Over here, you whatever. Different compartments. Are these compartments part of the kira? So if tuma, this mouse is inside the compartment, does the whole kira become tameh? Yes or no? Probably not. Remeir says, yes. Metamin b'mago, it only becomes tameh if the mouse actually touches the inside of the kira. So then everything, all the compartments become tameh. Or if it touched the inside of a compartment, the kira becomes tameh. Ve'ei metamin b'avir. But if the mouse was dangling inside a compartment or inside the kira, nothing else becomes tameh. Divir Remeir. So we need to understand why. If it's a kli cheres, it should become tameh if it was dangling inside. Now, according to Reb Shimon, that says everything is tar because the compartments are not part of the kira. So maybe if I touch over here, nothing else becomes tameh. What's going on here? If it's a kira, then even in the ear, all compartments should become tameh. If you don't consider a compartment like part of the kira, so if I touch the inside of the compartment, why is the kira tameh? They're individual, they're independent of each other. Again, if they're independent, so what is touching the inside of the oven, of this kira, why is it tameh the compartments on the outside? They're individual compartments. And if they're not individual, they're one, so if I dangle a mouse in a compartment, then the kira should also become tameh. What's going on here? Says Gemara, very simple. No, Remeir agrees that compartments have nothing to do with the actual kira. V'Rabbanu the gazerbu. This is a gzera de Rabbana. So once it's a gzera, and whoever learned with us the last Masechtas and Shas is familiar with this concept. If there's a gzera, so just do a widespread gzera. Say, okay, everything is tameh. Avir, maga. What's the difference? No, adu b'Rabbanan nekera. Right? The whole Seder Kachim is full of this. If you say that this gzera applies even to the ear space of a tanur, of a kira, and also to the maga, then people are going to forget where it originated from. They're going to forget that this is a derabbanan gzera. And if they're going to forget that this is a derabbanan gzera, they're going to go ahead and burn kachim that touched this oven. But you're not allowed to burn kachim that are tamei only midrabbanan. If it's tamei midiraisa, you burn the kachim. But Rabbanan can't say you're not allowed to burn kachim stam. That's also awesome midiraisa. Rabbanan can't tell you that we made an Israel. Oh, go ahead and burn it. So what do? Toilim. You just let it. You suspend the Isser for now. You let the food rot, but you're not allowed to burn it. But how are people going to remember not to burn it? By telling them this is a very weird tumah. This only applies if you touch it and not if you dangle it. And everybody knows this is a kli cheres. Dangling should work. And they started asking themselves questions. Why does dangling not work? Oh, because it's the Rabbanon, you're not supposed to burn it. Ton Rabbanon, Maspoire Shel Prokim. I so happen to have, this is a Cutco scissors. By the way, if anybody wants Cutco, Yeshua Aaron Price sells Cutco. Very good scissors. But guess what? Look what happens. If I go like this, and now they are two pieces. So if I have a scissor like that, and now they're back together again. If I have a scissor that comes apart, the Ismail shel rohitni, and a carpenter's plane. This is a antique one, but similar to what they had in the time of the Beis Hamikdash. You put a blade here. Time of the Gemara, you put a blade, and you grab this, and you go back and forth on wood, and you could, take off a sliver of wood to size. You size it. But what is that blade? Is it part of the wood? Is it not part of the wood? Is it two kalim? Says the Gemara. It depends. For Tumah, it's one connection. So if a mouse touches my blade, my whole kli becomes tamei. If a mouse touches this part also becomes tamei. If I need to sprinkle it with paraduma ashes to make it tar, if I sprinkle my hand, if I'm tamei mace and I sprinkle hazah in my hand, my whole body becomes tar. But if I sprinkle this one does not become tar because they're individual parts. Why? What's the difference? By tumah you said one is metame the other, and by hazah one doesn't work for the other. Why not? And the answer is very simple. The chumrah. I'm just being machmir. I'm telling you, sprinkle both. And I'm telling you, if you touch a rat to this, then this becomes tamei. It's the same idea. They're both the chumrah, but the chumrah of hazah is that you need both, and the chumrah of tumah is that you need one. You see how they work in opposites. As the Gemara, manav shachi chiburu afil hazah. Chibur tumah v'chil hazah manav shachi chiburu afil hazah nami. Ilav chiburu afil tumah nami loy. You should know, Midairaisa, when you're performing the act, you're cutting something with a scissor, then they're both connected. That's no shaila. You're using the Ismail, the carpenter's plane, the blade and the wood are one because you're doing malacha. But when you're not working it, they're not connected at all. Because Rabbanan al Tumah Shalei B'Shas Melacha, Daf Mem Tes Amud Aleph on top, and Chacham came along and made a gzeira. Mishum Tumah B'Shas Melacha. So Rabbanan said it doesn't matter if you're working or not working. Let's just pick the most chumrah thing. So therefore, when you're not working, if you touch one part, both parts become tamei. V'alazah B'Shas Melacha Mishum Hazah Shalei B'Shas Melacha. And when it comes to hazah, even if you're working it, it's not enough to sprinkle your paraduma ashes on one part. I'm going to be machmer on you and say, you have to sprinkle on both parts. Have a wonderful, phenomenal day. Shem Elois, mi mama kim krusich adinoi. Adonai shema b'kaliti noznecha kashuvois lekolta Adonai. Adonai shema b'kaliti noznecha kashuvois lekolta Adonai. Tishmo ya Adonai mi amoi. Im avonos tishmo ya Adonai mi amoi. V'chaslicho למען תיברא. כי זה אדוני כבשו נפשי ודרכתי. אדוני שומרים לבויקר, שומרים לבויקר. כי אדוני החסד והרבה מועד. יחי ישראל אדוני כי אדוני החסד.